Yo, so, I've been thinking about something. I noticed over time how people get kind of, I guess, possessive in a weird way over their animals, usually dogs. I noticed, because I'm pretty good with animals, especially dogs and cats, and just animals in general, usually. I get along with them well, and they usually love me too. Of course, there's not every single animal, but many of them, especially domesticated ones. And it triggers some people because for some reason they expect that their dog won't be like friendly, or I don't know. I guess friendly. We'll just say friendly. Their dog won't be friendly to strangers. That like, I don't know. I guess they have like a sort of emotional grip on their pets, and I think it shatters their ego a little bit when they find out that their dog that's supposed to be like scary and I guess protective is like, wagging their tail, getting close to me, wanting pets and stuff like that. I think it breaks people's egos in a few different ways. Obviously, the first one is when their dog is supposed to be protective and stuff like that, and then they clearly aren't. It messes with them because they're like, why isn't my dog like, trying to protect me? Obviously, there's no threat to protect them from. I'm just there petting their dog. But then there's this other thing where the owner is scared of their dog. They usually don't admit that, but they're scared of their dog for one reason or another. A really good classic example is pit bulls. Anybody can be afraid of a pit bull if they're under the assumption that they're an aggressive dog. There might be like a trend for it, but pretty much every dog born is going to be the same, in respect that they just want to be loved and appreciated, and just like every other being on earth. And so it breaks their ego in a way, because the dog that they feared the entire time, especially gets bigger and older, is suddenly like friendly and like loving, and this person has no I don't know, there's no fear, there's no worry. It's just a guy petting a dog suddenly. So it breaks their ego in that way. But I realized something else too, just recently. Often people get dogs because of their protective nature and their ability to be a little more aggressive and harmful, or I guess dangerous, however you want to frame that. But it's typically why people get dogs. It's stuffy in here. And not everybody knows the difference between raising an animal and loving an animal, or anybody for that matter. People, kids, anybody. And a lot of people often forget one over the other. It becomes this sort of gripping nature where you have to have control over the dog. You have to have ownership. You have to have responsibility. You have to have this egoic grip over the dog that says that they belong to them. And if suddenly, I don't know, a stranger, anybody, comes up to the dog and the dog isn't immediately hateful or angry or aggressive or protective, then it could mark betrayal. Because suddenly the dog that's supposed to protect you is like cuddling up to some other stranger, whether it makes sense or not. So I realized something about this and relationships in general is some people get into relationships with this idea in mind that it is a transaction, even though they don't want to admit it, or they may even is condone the right? No, not condone, but well, I can't think of the word I want to use. They disagree with it. They could disagree with relationships being a transaction, but then still go into a relationship with this idea in mind that you owe each other love. And if you give love to somebody else, or if somebody else gives love to them, or you vice versa, then that's betrayal or cheating. And I realized something, and it's kind of, it's like, I guess, unrefined. It's an unrefined wisdom, because it doesn't have status or moral or quota or transaction. It's just a sort of wisdom that came to me, where everybody just wants to be loved. I mean, like, bottom line. The bottom line is everybody wants to feel loved. Everybody wants to be loved. Obviously, nobody wants to be left out. And that's just all that it comes down to. At the end of the day, people just want to feel loved. People, dogs, animals, pets, kids, parents. Everybody and everything wants to feel loved. Even alligators. Have you ever seen people pet alligators? Alligators will go up to the boat and you can just pet them if you want. Not everyone, but there are occasions. And so it's just this sort of baseline where everybody just wants to feel loved. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to see it that way. A lot of people want to own the relationship or the connection or the bond that is two people or whoever, however many, whatever it happens to be. That shared connection of giving each other love. I know it's more complicated than that, but like at the end of the day, it's just, I mean, it's not untrue. I don't think anybody doesn't want to be loved. If they do, it's because they've been abused by love, and that happens too. Happens to everybody too, where you're vulnerable, you're weak, and people spot that and they just have to take advantage. But everybody and everything just wants to feel loved. And yeah, I mean, that's like all I could say about that, I guess. Anyway, later.